My name is Pierre. I am 26 years old. And this is the church that will take 100 years to finish. Every morning, I climb higher than any man in Paris. I carry a chisel, a mallet, and the knowledge that one slip will kill me before I hear the ground. They call it Notre-Dame, Our Lady. But up here on the scaffolding, there is no lady. There is only limestone and wind and the sound of 60 men trying not to fall. I was born on the Île de la Cité, close enough to hear the hammering before I could walk. My father was a labourer on this same site. He hauled rubble. He mixed mortar. He died with white dust in his lungs before he turned 40. I was luckier. A master mason saw my hands when I was 12. He said they were steady. He said I could learn. For 7 years, I swept his workshop, carried his tools, watched him turn raw blocks into shapes that seemed impossible. Columns that looked like they were growing from the earth. Capitals carved with leaves so fine you could almost see the wind moving through them. By 19, I was cutting stone myself. By 23, I could carve a voussoir for an arch that fit so perfectly you could not slide a blade between the joints. Now, at 26, I am one of 16 carvers working on the upper nave. 16 men responsible for every stone that rises above the triforium. The limestone comes from the quarries at Saint-Loup. Great barges carry it down the Oise and into the Seine, and by the time it reaches our island, it has already travelled 30 miles. The stone arrives rough, square-faced, cold to the touch even in summer. It smells like the inside of a well. My day begins before the sun. I cross the Pont au Change in darkness, following the sound of the treadwheel turning. The treadwheel is the heartbeat of this site. 2 men walk inside it like trapped animals, and the wheel lifts loads that no 20 men could carry. It groans and creaks with every rotation, and you learn to read the sounds. A steady creak means the load is manageable. A high whine means the rope is stretched too tight. A sudden silence means something has broken, and you do not want to be standing underneath. I climb. Every morning I climb. The scaffolding is oak and rope and prayer. The planks are narrow. Some mornings they are wet with rain and slick as river stones. You place each foot with the care of a man crossing ice, and you do not look down, because looking down is how men lose their balance and their lives. At the top, Paris spreads out below me like a map drawn in mud and smoke. I can see the river curving. I can see the rooftops packed so tight they seem like one continuous surface of thatch and timber. On clear mornings, I can see the fields beyond the walls, and for a moment, I forget that I am standing on a plank of wood 60 feet above the earth, with nothing between me and God but open air. The Mason's Lodge sits at the base of the North Tower. It is where we sharpen our tools, study the templates, and eat our bread. The templates are the most important things on this site. More important than the stone, more important than the men. They are wooden patterns cut to the exact curve, angle, and profile of every piece the cathedral needs. If you carve to the template, the stone will fit. If you guess, it will not. There is no room for guessing when you are building a church for God. My tools are simple. A pointing chisel for rough shaping, a claw chisel for the middle work, a flat chisel for the finish, a wooden mallet because iron on iron would shatter the chisel head, and a banker, which is the flat stone I work on. That is all. 5 things between a raw block and a piece of a cathedral. The master builder is a man named Jean. He carries parchment drawings that show the shape of things we will not build for another 20 years. He understands geometry the way a priest understands scripture. He can look at a wall and tell you where the weight is going before the wall knows itself. I do not understand his drawings, but I understand his stone. The clink of the chisel is the first sound of every day and the last sound of every night. You hear it in your sleep. You hear it in your prayers. After a while, you stop hearing it as sound and start feeling it as rhythm, like the beating of your own heart moved into your hands. I carve a block, and it takes me 3 days. 3 days of sitting on a wooden stool with my legs braced against the banker, dust coating my arms and face and collecting in the creases of my neck. The dust is the thing that follows you home. You wash and it comes back. You eat and you taste it. You lie down at night and cough it up. And in the morning you climb back up and make more. The men around me are from every corner of France. Normans, Burgundians, Picards, a few from as far as England and the Rhineland. We do not always understand each other's words, but we understand each other's hands. A good mason's hands tell you everything. The calluses, the nicks, the angle of the thumb when it holds the chisel. You can read a man's skill in his grip. Some men carve plain ashlar, flat faces, square edges, no ornament. Honest work, but simple. Others carve the tracery for the rose windows, and those men are artists in a way that I will never be. Their hands move with a lightness that defies the weight of the stone. I carve the voussoirs, the wedge-shaped stones that form the arches. Each one must be cut to a different angle, and each angle must be exact, because an arch that is even slightly wrong will not hold its own weight. An arch is a promise. Every stone leans on the next, and none of them can stand alone. Remove one, and the whole thing falls. I think about that every time I set my chisel. We lost a man last month, a laborer named Gilles. He was carrying mortar on the upper scaffold when a plank gave way beneath him. He fell 40 feet and landed on the rubble pile below. He did not cry out. The fall was too fast for sound. One moment he was walking, and the next moment he was not. They carried him to the river and washed his face. The priest said words over him before sunset. His wife came the next morning to collect his tools. She stood at the base of the scaffold and looked up at the place where he had been standing. She did not speak. She just looked up. And then she turned and walked away through the mud. We went back to work. That is what you do. You go back to work because the stone does not stop needing to be cut, and the cathedral does not stop needing to be built. The winters are the worst. The stone turns to ice under your hands. Your fingers crack and the skin splits, and the cold at 60 feet is a living thing that pushes against you with a patience that nothing human can match. In January, we cannot carve. The frost would split the fresh-cut surfaces before the mortar could set. So we sharpen tools and cut templates and sit in the lodge and wait. And waiting, for a man who is used to working, is its own kind of punishment. Spring comes and the site erupts. The treadwheel turns faster. The barges come more often. The master builder walks the upper levels with his parchments, pointing at walls that do not yet exist, describing arches that live only in his mind. He tells me the nave vault will reach 80 feet above the floor. I try to imagine it. 80 feet of empty space held up by nothing but stone and the genius of geometry. It seems impossible. But then, everything about this building seems impossible until you see it standing. The flying buttresses are the secret. I did not understand them when I was an apprentice. They look like arms reaching out from the walls, and that is exactly what they are. They take the weight of the vault and carry it outward and downward to the ground. Without them, the walls would buckle and the whole nave would collapse inward like a crushed egg. I have seen the master builder test a buttress by standing beneath it and pressing his hand against the stone. He closes his eyes and feels for vibration. If the stone is still, the weight is flowing properly. If it trembles, something is wrong. He reads the building with his body, the way a physician reads a patient. Today is a lifting day. A block I carved last week is being raised to the upper nave. It weighs more than 2 oxen. The treadwheel crew tightens the rope. The foreman calls the count. The block rises, spinning slowly, and I watch it go up the way a father watches his child walk for the first time. At the top, 2 setters guide it into place with iron bars. They work without speaking, communicating through nods and hand signals, because at that height, a shout could startle a man off the edge. The block finds its bed of mortar. It settles with a sound so soft you would miss it if you were not listening. A whisper, a sigh. The sound of one stone accepting the weight of another. And somewhere inside that sound is the promise that this building will still be standing when everyone alive today is dust. The afternoon sun hits the south wall and the limestone glows. Not white, gold. It holds the light the way skin holds warmth after a fire. The master builder once told me that the men who designed this church believed light was the visible presence of God. That is why the windows are so tall. That is why the walls are so thin. They were not building a fortress. They were building a lantern. I do not know if God lives in the light, but I know that when the afternoon sun fills the nave and the dust motes hang in the air like golden snow, something changes. The noise fades. The danger fades. The ache in my hands fades. And for a moment, the building is exactly what it was always meant to be. My grandfather never saw this place. He died before the first stone was laid. My father saw the foundations and the lower walls. He died before the triforium was finished. I have seen the upper nave take shape. I have watched the walls rise past the clerestory windows. I have set stones that will hold up a vault I may never stand beneath. And that is the strangest part of this work. You give your life to a building that will not be finished in your lifetime. You carve your stone, you set it in place, and you walk away knowing that the man who finishes what you started has not yet been born. There is a mark on every stone I cut, a small cross inside a circle, my mason's mark. It means I was here. It means these hands touched this stone. It means that long after my name is forgotten, the work of my hands will carry weight. I think about the men who will come after me, the carvers who will shape the towers,
sculptors who will fill the portals with saints and sinners. I will never meet them, but I know them. I know their hands will ache the way mine ache. I know their fingers will split the way mine split. I know they will climb the scaffold every morning and look down at Paris and wonder if today is the day the plank gives way. And I know they will climb anyway, because the building asks and you answer. There are things you cannot explain about this work. The weight of a well-cut stone in your hands, the way a finished joint disappears into the wall as if it were always there. The silence that falls over the site at sunset when the hammers stop, and the only sound is the river and the wind moving through the unfinished arches. I do not build for the bishop. I do not build for the king. I do not even build for God, though I would not say that to the priest. I build because my hands know how, and because the stone is there, and because somewhere inside me is the belief that a thing made well will outlast every empire, every war, every fire, and every king. That is the Mason's faith, not the faith they teach in church, the faith that lives in the work itself. Tomorrow I will climb again. The scaffold will creak, the dust will coat my lungs. My chisel will ring against the stone from dawn until the light fails. I will carve another voussoir. I will check it against the template. I will watch it rise on the treadwheel and find its place in the wall. And sometime this week or next, a stranger will cross the Pont au Change and stop. He will look up at the cathedral rising above the rooftops, this impossible thing of stone and light, and he will wonder who built it. He will wonder how. He will wonder why. He will not know my name. He will not know that I sit on a wooden stool every day and breathe stone dust and grip my chisel until the skin splits. He will not know about Gilles, or the plank that gave way, or the widow who came for the tools. He will see the building and think it has always been there, that it grew from the island the way a tree grows from the earth. And in a way, he will be right, because the men who build a cathedral do not impose it on the land. They listen to the stone. They follow the grain. They let the weight find its path. And when it is finished, if it is built well, it will look as if it belongs, as if it was always meant to stand in this exact place, on this exact island, at the center of this exact city. I am Pierre. I am 26 years old. I am a limestone carver on the construction of Notre-Dame de Paris. I will never see it finished. No one alive will see it finished.
It will take another 100 years, maybe more, and by then the men who laid the first stones will be forgotten, along with the men who set the last. But the stones themselves will remember. Every joint, every angle, every mason's mark scratched into the face before the mortar covered it forever. The stones will remember what we built. And if you listen closely, if you press your hand against the wall the way the master builder taught me, you might feel what we felt. The weight, the patience, the faith that a thing made well by human hands can stand for 1,000 years. My name is Pierre. I am 26 years old, and every stone I cut is a promise that I was here.